I'm Eric Sfiligoj, editor of CropLife and CropLife Iron magazines, here with a special edition of CropLife Retail Week. We have a special guest this week, Anthony Lackore from Brevant Seed. Anthony, welcome to the program.
Hey, Eric. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Well, very good. So, if you could, let's start out simply by letting my viewers know a little bit about you, your background, and how you came to join Brevant.
Yeah, I've got a pretty rich history within agriculture growing up in Iowa on a Century family farm. So that's embedded pretty deep. As I've grown up and come through my career, I went to Iowa State in agriculture, joined Corteva right out of college. And so this summer turned 15 years with the organization. I've served various functions of the business. Both within the US and globally, whether that be from seed production to sales to agronomy, as well as even the precision agronomy side. And for the last few years, I've had a really great opportunity within the Brevant organization to lead our sales team for the Eastern Corn Belt region.
Okay, very good. And by the way, I'll say I'm sorry about Iowa State. I was a little disappointed in that one myself over the weekend. So,
It's one of those where sometimes you just got to get it out of the way. And it was a hard fought battle, as tough as that is to say.
yeah, no, you're right. And it's funny because whenever I'm in the state of Iowa, I always know where I am because, that border around a license plate, it'll change from a Hawkeye to a Cyclone. And I know exactly what part of the state I'm happen to be in at that point. So I know there's a good division there. So very good. Iowa State. So, hey, as we're moving, of course, through the year, we're now into fall. I know I'm well aware of that, having raked many, many leaves this weekend. How is Brevant gearing up for the fall season? I know this is a very busy time for the growers and ag retailers. How are you preparing for fall?
It's an exciting time of the year as we flip the calendar to fall. I think the most exciting in that this really marks that point in time where it's the scorecard, and we get to see the results from many of the decisions we made here this prior year. A few things that we're extremely excited about as we look at our 2025 class of corn and soybean products is to see the results. Coming in those advancement classes, we had an 11.6 bushel advantage on corn, 2.8 bushel advantage on soybeans. And so getting a good evaluation, not only of yield, but also agronomics, whether that be from some of our own internal testing through a common testing program called impact testing within Corteva. Many of our retailers are also testing and evaluating those products. And then even on farm, as we've looked at things like Brevant Experience Trials, where we're looking to get the newest class of products into farmers' hands on their own farms to evaluate. And so that has been what we've been focused on, is getting a good look to then be able to work with our retail partners to assess what are the best products and how do we manage those for success heading into the 2026 growing season.
Okay, well, before we move into next year's growing season, back to 25 for a moment. I know I'm based here in Ohio, and I know I just saw a report over the weekend talking about there's 88 counties in Ohio, and I think about 80 of them are in extreme drought conditions this year. And I know, driving around the state and visiting with growers around the country, I've heard about, how severe the drought is depending on where they're at. What kind of feedback have you heard from the Vermont customers regarding droughts in their areas, and how have your seed performed in those conditions?
It's a great question, and one I reflect quite frequently. A conversation I had with a grower years ago. That grower had been farming for decades, and I asked the simple question, just in casual conversation, how long he had been farming. And he turned to me and he said, "Anthony, I've been farming 1 year because every year is different." And that's a testament to the year we're seeing here unfold. Many geographies through the months of June and July had adequate rainfall. Then you look into the month of August, and many geographies completely turned the spigot off. And so that introduced quite a bit of stress that drew some variability. And so, all in all, as we look at some of the variability we're seeing thus far, we feel good about how our genetics are stacking up. We have a very strong history within drought tolerance in our breeding program through Aquamax lineup. So on the early side of harvest, feel very good about the performance that our products are bringing, not only through some of the drought stricken areas, but also as we look at some of those areas that had been stressed with even disease pressure as well.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. No, I know. I've talked to a couple of growers, older growers like myself, and they've said that with the improvements that have been made in genetics for seed, that even with severe drought these days, it's not like a severe drought 2024, 2025, what you had back in like the mid 1980s. Those were really, really tougher times, from what I understand.
I think you're spot on, and I would compliment the enormous effort that the research and development breeders have brought. I even reflect on a discussion I had here. It was 2 or 3 years ago on our own farm, where we went through that period where no rainfall during a critical period of time during grain fill, and I vividly remember my dad's comments being, it is undeniable what genetics have been able to bring to the table. 20 years ago, 15 years ago, we would have been harvesting 185 bushel corn in those instances, and we were picking north of 225. And so it's quite astonishing what genetics have been able to bring as far as yield through those variable areas.
Very good. All right. Well, speaking of genetics, I'm sure that sort of gives us a little bit of a segue. So then earlier you mentioned 2026 and 2026 growing season. I know the fall, traditionally, go into November, December, growers are starting to make up their minds regarding what types of seed they're going to plant, what crops they're going to plant in the upcoming year, and then what seed varieties they're going to choose. So tell me about what Brevant Seed is doing to prepare for 2026 and what new varieties or new products might you have in the market, and why are they special?
It's a great question. I look at the core of what Vermont brings to the table, and that's about 100 years of genetic breeding and advancements, and so that's the absolute fiber and foundation to as we look at bringing yield gain and genetic gain year in and year out. Where I look at a strong complement would be some of the technologies that we're transitioning to here in the future. On corn, those would be technologies like Vorseed Enlist and Power Core Enlist, bringing very strong tolerance to some of our key insects that we have challenge with. On soybeans, I look at our portfolio being 100% exclusive Corteva genetics within the Enlist E3 space. We'll be in a great position moving forward in 2026 as we look at our Peking offering for soybean systematodes. So, the way I think about it is every farm has its unique challenges, whether that be yield levels, whether that be insect management or disease. And so we've really looked strong at how we position our portfolio to meet those demands of farmers and retailers with what they need in the lineup.
Very good. All right. Well, I know back in July, I think it was, I attended a field day in Iowa by the Corteva headquarters there in just outside of Des Moines. And I was at the field and, of course, talking to some of the Brevant folks while I was there. And, Brevant was at that point celebrating a 5-year anniversary mark. I know they gave me one of those magic 8 balls, except this was a magic 5 ball, and all the comments are very positive. I know my son pointed that out. He's like, "Dad, none of these comments are negative. They're all positive." I'm like, "I'm sure that was on purpose." So tell me a little bit more about how Brevant has been celebrating 5 years here in 2025, and give me a little reflection on how the company has changed over that 5-year time span.
It's a great question. If I look at the introduction of Brevant and that launch in 2020, I'm going to go down and say that was one of the most bold moves in recent history of American agriculture. And why I say that is for over 20 to 30 years, retail had never had access to Corteva genetics. And the launch of Brevant was a very bold move in that it was full blown commitment to offering retail best in class genetics in 2020. As I look at those 5 years, it is safe to say the momentum that we've been creating, the products that we've been bringing to our customers, the excitement within our field teams is second to none. And so we spent a great deal amount of time this year, whether it be at field days, continuing to tell that story and share how Brevant is part of the larger equation in bringing products and performance to retail and customers. And the biggest area we've also conveyed is we're not done yet. We've got 5 years under our belt. And the next five are going to be continuing that momentum and that excitement within the Brevant organization and within retail and with our farmer customers.
Oh, very good. Since you mentioned the future, then, looking further forward beyond 2026, I mean, how do you envision what's the mission, if you will, the mission statement for Brevant moving forward here between now and say 2030, since it's a good round number.
Our vision is very clear. We have a strong commitment to our retail partners and customers, and that's centered around bringing best in class products. And that's going to be something we will continue to be relentless, whether that be through genetics. If I look at our trait pipeline, we have clear line of sight through the 2030s on that trait pipeline for both corn and soybeans. And so, looking to next generation technology such as reduced stature corn, looking at the landscape of gene editing and how that plays into aspects of disease resistance, looking at next generation soybean herbicide tolerant options. The pipeline is full, and it's very exciting as I look at not only to the 2030 period, but also well into the next decade. And that's an area that gets me extremely excited as I think about Brevant and long term vision for bringing value added solutions to our customers in the future.
Very good. Yeah, you mentioned the pipeline. I know, and maybe this isn't applicable, but I'll ask it anyhow. I know a couple of the companies I've talked to recently, like can say in the last year and a half. There's been a big push on that technology side with artificial intelligence, AI, helping with research, development, testing. Without giving away any trade secrets, obviously, is Brevant playing in that space as well, and how has it made a difference?
It's a great question. As I've spoke with many folks within our organization, an area of reflection is we've been leveraging and utilizing AI before it was even really cool within the marketplace and a buzzword, and it's been adopted in many areas of our business. If you look at our research and development organization with how they advance and screen products, you look at our seed production teams in terms of being able to bring best in class products as far as high reliability and quality. And so that's an exciting landscape. I think it's only going to continue to accelerate as we look at the capabilities for the future, and one that I think is extremely important for us to embrace and fully utilize and leverage, which we're all in on.
Very good. All right. Well, we'll be watching future developments then coming from Brevant as we move forward. Well, Anthony, before I let you go, of course, this is a Crop Life Retail Week, and one of the things we do at the end of the program is you get to take a quiz. So it's time for fun with numbers.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So I'm going to hit you with a number. It's a percentage, not an even one. So just keep that in mind. 55.6%. All right. So that's your percentage, 55.6%. So, Mr. Anthony, is that A, the combined market share of the top five crop protection companies in 2024? Is it B, the combined market share for the top five seed companies in 2024? Is it C, the combined market share for the top five fertilizer companies in 2024? Or is it D, the percentage of TV commercials I've seen the past week advertising Halloween candy?
I think I'm gonna go with A.
I think
Is that on track?
you are absolutely correct. Yes, good job. You got the ding. Yeah, I found some statistics online talking about the top five companies in crop protection and seed, of course, and Corteva being one of the top five. That yes, 55.6% was their combined market share in 2024. Good job. Congratulations.
Well, you almost had me at D. As I was at Costco this past weekend, they were flourished with the Halloween candy, and as you look at the neighbors setting up all the decorations, I knew that one was going to be very close, if not.
Well, I think it's actually given we're in mid-October, I think it was higher because I think I've seen about 70 or 75% of the commercials have been Halloween candy. I think the 55% would just be Reese's peanut butter cups. I don't know if that's the most popular Halloween candy, but if it's not, it certainly seems so based on the amount of airspace it gets. So,
That's right.
all right. Well, Anthony, thank you again for joining us on behalf of myself and everyone at the CropLife Retail Group. Everyone, thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the special edition, and we will see you again next week. If you have questions or comments about today's episode of Retail Week, contact us by email or Twitter, or type your message in the comment section below. Your feedback is important to us. We will try our best to address your thoughts in next week's episode, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.